Welcome back folks to the second video of my fourth leg of cycling the British coastline. And as you know, every year I try and cycle a little bit more as a bit of a breezy adventure, and last time I took on the entire of northern Scotland, including the Outer Hebrides. Now so far on this journey I've experienced beautiful ferry rides, gorgeous beaches, hunkered down in a youth hostel after being caught in a rainstorm, ancient stones, spectacular mountains, and two of the northernmost landmarks of Great Britain. And so after I filmed the ending to the last video, I spent a day cycling into a headwind to get to Dunbeath. And then the next day experienced a serious bout of fatigue and demotivation. I only made it to Brora before I was utterly fed up, for no reason. I think I had hit the wall, or more likely it was burnout, which happens when the mind and body are so overly exhausted from being active that you lose all interest. Despite this, and the endless ups and downs of this hilly part of the coastline, I did get a second wind in the afternoon and decided to push on past the Moray Firth, get off the A road and try and cross at Moray Firth before the last ferry of the day. Right, so I'm still on the A road, heading south. I'm just gone past through Golspie and then somewhere called the Mound over a bridge. And you can see the bay there, the inlet. But I'm in a bit of a rush because I wanted to make a ferry at Nig, from Nig to Cromarty, get off the A road. But the last ferry at Nig is at 6:15, and it's already 3:30, 3:45 at the moment, and it's 23 miles away. Now you can say, oh yeah, you can do that. I don't know if I can do that. I'm exhausted today. I've not been feeling it, my energy's been low. I've kind of hit a bit of a wall, and 23 miles in like 2.5 hours. Hopefully we'll make this ferry. If not, I'll have to find somewhere to wild camp nearby and make it first thing in the morning. But yeah, this is Tain. It's a nice little village. I wish I had more time to spend here. A very nice gentleman in a kebab shop just filled my water bottle up for me, so relief. And I've got 11 miles apparently to make in about an hour and 10 minutes, so that should be okay. I think I can do that now. I'm full of grease and stuff. But yeah, let's see if we can get to this ferry and relax. Made it! Amazing. The Moray Firth is so well protected as a natural bay that, as well as being a wonderful safe harbour for dolphins, whales and other marine life, it's also been attracting humans for millennia too. Invergordon became a major base for the Royal Navy during World Wars I and II. It was also the scene of one of the few strikes in British naval history, when in 1931, upon learning of a 25% cut in their pay, hundreds of lower ranked sailors refused to put to sea for exercises. This was open mutiny, and it lasted for 2 days. Royal Marines were brought in to break up the strike, but actually joined in. Some of the sailors even began singing the Red Flag. For a while, the Admiralty was caught between coming down hard on the strikers and fear of making matters worse. In the end, the sailors were appeased with promises of a better deal, and all ships went back to sea. Sadly, the Navy went on to arrest several of the leaders and sacked hundreds more in years to come for their involvement. Today the naval base is gone, but the Firth is home to several huge oil rigs, either waiting to be decommissioned or to be dragged back to work in the North Sea. It's a spectacular sight. After all, it's not every day you see an oil rig graveyard. So there you go, the Cromarty ferry. But I think it was such a little 10-minute ferry ride, but I think that's the last ferry I'll be getting for a long time on this coastal journey anyway. You think of all the little ferries and all the big ferries I've been getting to get around the islands of Scotland and across the odd river estuary like at Pulteney Fyle. This might be the last one for a long time, so yeah, bit of a milestone. Right, so I'm camping at a proper site, just outside a village called Rosemarkie, and it's on the beach. This is my tent, the bike, nowhere to tie the bike, so kind of against the tree, and it's holding the tent up a little bit as well. Just having some tea, or some dinner. So I've got some Uncle Ben's rice, roasted garlic, golden vegetable. There, they don't take long to boil. And then a bit of tomato ketchup, which you can pick up free in many places, just to add a bit of flavour to it. So there you go. That's my little camping setup, and I'm sat facing like a naughty boy in the corner because the wind is coming from that direction. But yeah, so that's me for the night, I think. And tomorrow we'll see if we can get to Inverness by lunchtime and have a proper lunch. But yeah, night. Morning. Inverness is the northernmost city in the UK, lying at the head of the Great Glen. Now, being so far north meant that it escaped much of the attention of the English over the centuries of war between the two nations. Known as the capital of the Highlands, its castle, university, culture and location today make it one of the fastest growing cities in the UK, and an excellent base for anybody exploring this part of Scotland. Right, so this is Nairn, and it's a beautiful little seaside town. It's a nice place to stop on the coast. In the middle of the day, it's about 2:30. Let's have a bit of a rest the old leggies. Over there you can see the coast all the way north, which I've travelled down the past couple of days. It's funny though, because we're doing a coastal journey and starting off somewhere like Blackpool, a big coastal town, a big seaside town, sorry. I kind of presumed that every so often I come across somewhere like this, a seaside resort town, but it's been very rare, and it's quite a nice change to come somewhere like this, actually, a beach kind of place. I think it's as well, what you don't realise when you're doing like long distance cycling, is that you just spend a lot of your time just eating. Like, just eating food is a major part of your day. So I've stopped off here just to have a rest, but also charge the old solar battery packs. But yeah, just to finish what I've got, so I've got some soft pit dates from Iran, obviously. Iranian dates, the best dates. Yeah, so that's what I'm going to do now. I'm not just going to sit here and enjoy the sun like an ordinary person. I'm going to sit here and stock up. I spent that night in Findhorn, where you can find the Findhorn Foundation, a community eco-village founded in 1962, and today has over 400 residents. It looks like the type of place somebody could stop for a while and just settle down, but I had to keep moving, so the next day continued into Burghead, where the remains of a Pictish fort can be found. Golf mad, isn't it, Scotland? It's golf mad. There's a golf course all the way down there near the beach, near the lighthouse, and there's a little mini one here as well. Yeah, golf mad. There's two MOD sites in this area. So there's one where I've just come from near Findhorn, and there's one here at Lossiemouth, and I've just seen a big plane take off. I didn't catch it on camera. And a bit of live fire by the sounds of it as well. What is interesting, what I've stopped to talk to the camera about is, you can see from here, I'm looking directly north now by the way, you can see the entire eastern coast of Caithness and Sutherland. Live fire. I hope it's training, I hope there's not some like mini invasion going on. But yeah, so I basically cycled that entire coastline there, and it's rare when you're cycling long distance to be able to look back and see where you've been going back 3 or 4 days. That's really rare, so put me off my stride. But yeah, brilliant. Right, so yes, I'm quite ahead of schedule still. So it's only about 11 o'clock in the morning. I'm gasping for a cup of tea. So it's on Monday though, so a lot of places are closed on Monday, so I'm going to have to look around Lossiemouth and try and find a cafe with a good bit of a cup of tea. Can't be that hard, can it? Right, so I'm at the mouth of the Spey now. This is the River Spey behind me, and it comes all the way from Aviemore way, I think. And it's always shifting about, which makes this quite an important wildlife area. But you have to be quiet because there's a lot of, this is a quiet zone, there's a lot of bird watchers around here with massive telescopes, all looking across at the estuary there, the mouth of the river, sorry, and out to sea. But apparently this is a great place to see bottlenose dolphins and sea otters. So a very important little wildlife spot and a nice place to stop. If the weather was a little bit better, I'd probably stay here a bit longer. It's a great day today. Not a great day to be out on the coast, but still, this is nice. As the road continued eastward, the coastline became a craggy symphony, reaching a crescendo here at the Bow Fiddle Rock at Portnocky. Realising I was almost an entire day ahead of schedule now, I took my foot off the gas and spent the night at Sand End. So it's a new morning again, slept very well at Sand End. And I've come now to somewhere called White Hills, which is a very tiny little seaside village on the way to Banff, just outside Banff. And it's the first time I've come to somewhere like this that doesn't seem to cater for visitors or tourists or anything like that. It's just houses on the front. There's communal washing lines down here. There's an old lady hanging up a washing there, a man working on his tools over there. Yeah, this is quite nice because it's like how one of these villages would have been before the age of the car, I suppose. Not much to see here though. Apparently it's famous for its rocks. There's rocks out in the bay. But I can't identify any of them off the notice board. But yeah, nice sunny morning. Going to take my time today. Still got 3 days of cycling before the train back. And probably about 75 miles or something left to Aberdeen, so really this is now killing time unless there's some mechanical fault, such would. I don't have anything to worry about. This part of the coast became a series of small and medium-sized fishing villages that connected by country roads that soon became very farmy and hilly. By this point I got sick of dawdling, so I changed my train ticket at Aberdeen for the day earlier and started to stretch my legs again. A day of cycling mostly country roads brought me eventually to Peterhead, the biggest settlement I'd seen since Inverness, and the easternmost edge of the giant Scottish headland. Unusually for a town its size, Peterhead's history is dominated by a single industry: fishing. For the last couple hundred years, Peterhead's growth as a major fishing port has boomed. It's positioned high up the coastline, making it an ideal start and endpoint for exploration of the North Sea and the Arctic Ocean. At one point, it was even a major whaling hub too. And as we've seen with all these small villages I've been passing through on the East Coast, fishing has been the very lifeblood of the population here. The addition of jobs supporting the North Sea oil and gas industry in the 20th century seemed to add to the prosperity. But just like with oil and gas, fish populations don't last forever, and as both industries wind down over the next 20 years, places along the coast here will have to adapt to tourism more and more to make their money. The next day I sauntered into Aberdeen, where my epic 15-day bike ride came to an end. Now, Aberdeen is the third most populated city in Scotland, and with its grand buildings and pretty university campus, it feels very much to a first timer like me like a mini Edinburgh. But there's something very distinctive about it. Okay, so I've made it to Aberdeen, the grey city of Scotland's northeast, and it's a very nice city. I'm sure it's much nicer in the sun, but yeah, I've had a quick look around so far. I've not seen the city centre properly, I've never been here before, so I'm going to grab some food and then have a good look around. Yeah, first impressions is very grey. You think a city so isolated on the northeast coast of Scotland would try and jazz itself up a bit. So today is my last day. I got here a day early basically, so I changed my train and basically I'm leaving today at 2 o'clock, so I've got a few hours to chill out on the beach and actually enjoy the sea, enjoy the coast like I'm supposed to be doing it on this coastal bike ride journey. But yeah, so my next leg I'll start here again. I'll probably take me at least to Edinburgh, possibly into England, I've not decided yet. But anyway, hope you enjoyed this video and I hope you see you in the next one, whenever that is. Yeah, cheers, bye.